Hello, hope you're all well today. It's been a very hard year so far with this new economic crisis that we're now in, and the cost of living has gone up dramatically. Inflation is almost in double digit figures, and pretty much the entire country is in turmoil. No, it's been fun, but to be honest with you, this isn't actually new because we've only just came out of the economic world crash back in 2008. And even though today people are saying, oh, tax the super rich, tax the super rich, even coming up with the windfall tax and things like that, and it's like, really? We haven't thought about this before. Well, guess what? We had. And to be honest with you, most of the countries around the world are mostly very corrupt. Um, the UK does have a few loopholes, I grant you that, and it does need adjusting and needs to be addressed. But other countries such as Qatar, Russia, China, most of the Middle East, even parts of the United States are absolutely corrupt when the super rich gets wealthy. But back in 2008, a lot of people's attitude, including socialists as well, is to tax millennials. There was a talk, or even an idea, a few people, even trade union members, believe that taxing millennials would solve most of the financial debt because millennials and younger are naive, snowflakes, can't look after money or have no concept of money and just binge drink and get pregnant and get a free house. Which none of that is true, but that was the attitude of the time. However, a lot of people still believe that millennials and younger should be financially responsible for fixing the economic crisis, especially here in the UK, by raising taxes for all millennials and younger by additional 5% above inflation, and also an extra 3% of national insurance increase for all millennials and younger. However, there are some people, because of the NHS as well as in crisis, saying that it's underfunded and all that stuff. People are now suggesting that today, anyone that isn't a hardcore trade union member or at least a member of the Labour Party should pay an additional 6% of national insurance, and unless you've got those cards to say that you are a party member or you are a member of the United Union or anything like that, any of the extreme ones, you are allowed to have. If you don't, if you're not a member of any of those things, you should have less healthcare, less rights in law, and all that stuff. So your human rights basically are reduced. And there is a few people saying, oh yes, the mega rich just seem to get away with everything. If we take away the rights of the major rich, or all those who are living in Tory constabularies, unless you change the party or overthrow the government entirely, your human rights should be snipped down a bit, and you are just an unnecessary burden to society, and you should pay for it by yourself. Well, hang on a minute. It's my attitude for this. That seems extreme, and it does seem extreme. Trust me, it is. And you can't do that because there's a breach of human rights. The issue is where is the money is funded. And the trickle down effect was rubbish. Whoever came up with that bonkers idea needs their head examined because it never worked. But there are priorities of where money is being funded. I mean, you look at heating. Okay, heating allowance. A lot of people within a certain age have a heating allowance, which is great if you live in the UK, which is really cold and you need it, and you've done all your hard work, working for years, you're retired, you're entitled to it. That's fair, that's fine, I get that. But what about those British people who now live abroad in Thailand, um, Mediterraneans like Spain and France and places like that, really hot countries and barely goes under 20 degrees Celsius in the winter time, and they're still allowed heating allowance. Well, to my mind, 20 degrees heat is not cold. Thailand never snows. If it snows in Thailand, there's clearly hell's frozen as well. That's how bad it would be. So, priorities on that. And also, people are saying about corruption, and yet you go off to Qatar to watch a football match, which, bearing in mind, Qatar did a lot of corruption. They bought the FA, and no one's challenging the FA. No one's boycotting it. No one's doing anything about it, and they're allowed to get away with it. How is that fair? Why should there be a millennial tax, for example, which some people still believe there should be a millennial tax, because we're naive, dumb, no concept of money, and all that jazz. And I'm thinking, well, how dare you say that? And even saying that human rights should be allowed to the people who are more deserving, not for everyone. Well, no, because everyone has a right to be heard. Everyone has a right to a fair trial. If you get arrested just because you are major rich for a supposed criminal activity, because you're multi-wealthy, so like Lord Sugar, for example, all your human rights should be cut off straight away. That's what people are saying. And I'm thinking, well, that's a breach of law, to be honest. But there is a lot of people talking about that. So how do we get out of this economic crisis? That's for everyone to decide. And would a millennial tax actually be suitable? Would you want a Wenfield tax, which is tax profiteering companies, which agree that should be done? Do you think loopholed countries should be held accountable to all this? So people are not allowed to take their money outside of the UK. They should pay British taxes and all that stuff, which is fine. They should do. But what are your thoughts? But there is a lot of talk of people saying millennials are worthless. Millennials don't have concept of a mortgage. We can only live on rent. All millennials are weak and snowflakes and shouldn't be allowed NHS support, so we've got to pay for it ourselves and all that stuff, or pay an extra 3% national insurance hike, and also taxation for the first year, an extra 4% taxes, and then obviously that's not fixed rate, is it? So it'll probably be the next 5 years from 4% up to 12% to all millennials and younger. So what are your thoughts about it, and what do you think of the economic crisis that we're in? And let me know your thoughts and your opinions about how do we get out of this economic crisis, because it's not just the UK is affected, it's literally the world over is affected. Oh yeah, and also, if you don't like the idea of corrupt countries or even like the World Cup going on, simply don't watch it. It's that simple. Don't watch it. If you don't agree to Qatar's laws and things like that, don't watch it. Do not finance, do not support the FA. Just literally don't buy any of their stuff. Don't watch football. Watch something else. EastEnders, Coronation Street, cricket, John Oliver. I don't care. Just watch something else. Just so long as it's not FA and football. Do that for about 6 months. And you'd be fine. Hell, the women's football team is a lot better than the UK one, and they're paid at least, 5% less than the male counterparts, and they play much better. Just an honest opinion. Have fun, take care.